Hello, friends. Welcome to my car. Happy Friday to one and all in the aftermath of the Montreal Canadiens going to Buffalo to open up a four-game road trip with a rather impressive 3-2 win. Josh Anderson, Brendan Gallagher, and Caden Guhle with his first National Hockey League goal as the Montreal Canadiens continue to impress in the early blush of the NHL season. Good morning, everybody. Proud to be with you. Hope you're watching. And don't forget, as always, share, comment, like, and I try to respond to as many of y'all as I possibly can as the Montreal Canadiens right now, 20th in the overall league standings. And it's amazing, right? Because, it's the first month of the NHL season. Where are the Canadiens going to end up? I don't hear too many people at this point talking about losing out on Connor Bedard and the sweepstakes there, because I still think as many people are that are as excited for what the Canadiens are doing, I still think it's very early, and I still think we're not at the point yet where you're sweating where the Canadiens are ultimately going to end up in July once the NHL draft rolls along, because as I said, they are 20th in the league right now. What's the difference between 29th in the NHL, 20th in the NHL, and 29th in the National Hockey League? 2 points. One win. That's it. 2 points separates a team that's 20th versus a team that's 29th. So it's still too early to call, but it doesn't change the fact that the Montreal Canadiens are doing a lot better. They look a lot better than how I thought they would look. And I don't think we should be surprised, really, because if we're being honest, Martin St. Louis, we know this, is such a relatable guy, such an easy to be inspired by coach, because he's so relatable for everything that he's accomplished as a player in his individual career. I think you stand up and you take notice when Martin St. Louis comes in, and I really like his approach. I love the fact that the Canadiens are always in it, they're always in the fight, and that it was a bit of a statement win by this team to go to Buffalo, where the Sabres started a 6-game road trip. They won 4 out of 6. Owen Power looks good. Rasmus Dahlin has arrived. This guy has 9 points. He had 9 points going into the game last night. And the Montreal Canadiens took it to the Buffalo Sabres. Now, look, Sam Montembeault was fantastic, was he not? If you're a fancy stats guy, go check out Arpon Basu. He's the editor-in-charge. He's the guy he's been on an absolute heater this week with all the Carey Price news and breaking multiple Carey Price stories this week. Thanks, Stefan Waite. Shout out. But Arpon Basu of The Athletic tweeted out a heat map when the game was tied 1-1. It was absolutely absurd. It was like inferno red in the Canadian zone, and it was like sky blue in the Buffalo zone to indicate how dangerous or how many high-danger scoring opportunities the Canadiens had on the road in Buffalo last night. So they get off to a good start. As I've told you before, I can't sit here and cheer for losing. I can't sit here and yell at my phone and chastise the Montreal Canadiens because Caden Guhle played well and David Savard played well and Jordan Harris is so smooth and Arber Xhekaj is not to be trifled with, and the Montreal Canadiens look pretty good. And to be honest, as good as some of the rookies have performed, and Caden Guhle got his first NHL goal yesterday, and what a goal it was! What a great pass from David Savard. The goaltending has been outstanding. The goaltending that has been shown by Jake Allen, and last night Sam Montembeault, 43 saves last night, is some of the best goaltending performances currently going on in the National Hockey League right now. Full stop. Honestly. Check it out. Jake Allen has been spectacular. Sam Montembeault, so strong last night. And the Canadiens, and much to my surprise, were you guys shocked to see Mike Hoffman on the number 1 line paired with Cole Caulfield and Nick Suzuki? I sure was. We wonder about Kirby Dach. Juraj Slafkovsky, who I think has a wrist injury. I think he has a wrist injury because the Montreal Canadiens are being very quiet with Juraj Slafkovsky. Remember, Mike Matheson has an abdominal injury. They were very precise with the injury to Mike Matheson. Abdominal injury, out 2 months. Juraj Slafkovsky, the Canadiens' number 1 pick, the 18-year-old blue chip prospect, upper body injury. We're back to the old lower body injury. My understanding is it might be a wrist injury that's affecting Juraj Slafkovsky and why he's not in the lineup, because I would like to see Juraj Slafkovsky play with Kirby Dach before any type of judgment is made about where does this guy go. Does Slafkovsky stay with the Canadiens? If he's not with the big club, does he go to Finland? Does he go to the American Hockey League and play with Laval? But there are things I want to see. He's got 5 games, so you still have a window to get to that 10-game window. But Sean Monahan continues to be a revelation in the offensive zone. He was out there with Jonathan Drouin and Kirby Dach yesterday. Josh Anderson scored his third goal of the season with Christian Dvorak and Brendan Gallagher. That line was very dynamic. Good to see Brendan Gallagher doing Brendan Gallagher things, going to the net, collecting stuff, collecting garbage goals, adding them all up. They all add up at the end of the season. And Jake Evans with Evgeny Dodonov and Rem Pitlick. I mean, I don't want to throw Jake Evans in the mix of veteran players that aren't performing. I mean, Jake Evans has been in the league for a little bit now, but he's a fourth line guy, fourth line guy, known more for his defensive abilities than he is for putting the puck in the net, which brings us to some of these older players, guys that when you add them all up, take home big paychecks, big percentages of the overall salary cap that Ken Hughes and Jeff Gordon have to work with, and they're not doing really anything with it. And that's why I was very surprised to see Mike Hoffman on the number one line with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield. It's all about earning it. As Mike Hoffman shown you that he's earned the right to play with Nick Suzuki and Cole Caulfield, like Mike Hoffman doesn't need to be shown off to anybody. Mike Hoffman is who Mike Hoffman is. He's got a bunch of 20 goals seasons. He's a very dynamic player. Should be good on the power play, but it hasn't hit. So this is where I think guys want to play for Martin St. Louis because of a decision like the one he made yesterday. Mike Hoffman on the number one line. You're moving pieces around. Guys that have done well. Sean Monahan, Suzuki, and Caulfield have done very well together. And the Montreal Canadiens are trying to establish dominance with that one line. And so when we talk about respect, when we talk about guys that buy into Martin St. Louis' system, throwing a cupcake to Mike Hoffman, I think does Martin St. Louis generates a lot of goodwill. Now, it doesn't mean that combo is locked in and written in stone. As I said, Martin St. Louis has done a very good job of mixing and matching and tinkering and who's going and trying to get guys going. So Brendan Gallagher looks good. Josh Anderson got his goal. So Montreal Canadiens get another W in the win column in their first road win of the season. And Caden Guhle gets his first NHL goal on a great feed from David Savard. So the Canadiens road trip, the first of four, gets off to a winning start. They're in St. Louis on Saturday night. We'll have it for you live on TSN 690. I would imagine Jake Allen up against his former team on Saturday on TSN 690. Very much looking forward to that. Meanwhile, the Canadiens' power play remains stinky poo. They're not doing anything. One of the worst power plays in hockey. As far as I know, Columbus... they went in, I don't know if they played last night, I forget, but the Blue Jackets power play was 0.0%. The Montreal Canadiens were second to them. And the power play looks bad. Martin St. Louis had 5 forwards on the first wave of the power play yesterday, including Mike Hoffman as the last line of defense. So there's a gamble. And, of course, Jeff Skinner continues to be a thorn in the side of the Montreal Canadiens. Here's a fun Jeff Skinner fact for you. In 36 career games against the Montreal Canadiens, Jeff Skinner has 21 goals. Wow. I mean, that's crazy to think about that. That one player is so comfortable playing one team. So pretty interesting to see what the Montreal Canadiens are doing. And it was fun in a conversation Connor McKenna and yours truly had with TSN Hockey Insider Darren Dreger on the morning show. If you missed it, it's a podcast at tsn690.ca. And we talked about some of the young players, in particular the 4 veterans on defense, the 4 rookies, on defense, in Arbor Jacki, in Jordan Harris, in Caden Guhle, and Kovacevic. What's the plan? Joel Edmondson is on the trip with this team. Joel Edmondson was a part of the game day skate yesterday in a no-contact jersey. So what happens if Mike Matheson's going to return in weeks? Joel Edmondson is on the cusp of returning. He's in the on-deck circle. What happens? Has the play of any of these young players done enough to move the needle for Ken Hughes to be confident in a decision to make a transaction? And the answer is right now, on the surface, no. So when it comes to, Joel Edmondson comes in, I mean, Chris, say we just finished talking about the power play and how bad that looks. Chris Weidman is more or less their go-to guy on the power play. He's playing over 2 minutes a night on the man advantage. So at this point, I don't think any one of the 4 defensemen, look, Caden Guhle is the one guy that stands out. I don't think there's a scenario anytime soon where Caden Guhle, his level falls off and we're talking about what's next for Caden Guhle, Laval or not. I don't think we're even close to having that conversation. But, as much as you like Arbor Jacki, I like Arbor Jacki too. I like the toughness and everything that comes with that. What happened yesterday in the early blush of the game? Sam Montembeault gets run into by Tage Thompson. Nothing happens. And nothing happens. I'm not a big fan of that. Kind of disappointing, to be honest with you. At the very least, your goaltender kind of gets run. It doesn't mean we're talking about dropping the gloves, Caden Guhle, and going out having a full-out fight. But at the very least, I'd like to see a face wash. I'd like to see, go smell my bad breath, get in the guy's kitchen. A little bit of a statement to let you know that we're not going to be pushed around tonight, and that this team is a put-together team. This team is a tough team together. And the Montreal Canadiens in the early goings didn't show that. So is that an opportunity? Is that the role Arbor Xhekaj falls into every time? Like, the last thing I want to see here is Arbor Xhekaj turn into the token fighter on the Montreal Canadiens. Like, I don't have a problem with fighting in hockey, but it has to be legitimate. I just don't want Arbor Xhekaj just to go fight somebody because that's what he has to do. Martin St. Louis is not Sylvain Lefebvre, so let's not talk about putting this guy into a corner where the one thing he has to do all the time is be the token fight guy every single time. There is a concept of team toughness, and I'd like to see a little bit more of that. So that was one incident. And as far as everything else, what comes with playing so many inexperienced players? Mistakes. Mistakes happen, and I know the expectation of the bar is very low this season, but you're still going out there and competing every single night. Like, the Montreal Canadiens weren't thinking about Connor Bedard in Buffalo last night. They were thinking about beating Craig Anderson and the Buffalo Sabres. So with that in mind, I do think, as much as Arbor Xhekaj is the fan favorite, I think he's the odd man out, and that's okay. It's okay. In this hypothetical, maybe he goes to Laval, plays bigger minutes, plays a bigger role, and gets more confidence and starts to get some of those mistakes out of his game on the regular. Nobody's perfect. I'm not asking for perfection, but like a game against Dallas where you're trying to go Jamie Benn into a fight, like, situational awareness. But again, no one's killing any of these rookies because they made poor judgments on the ice. It's okay. This is the season, as I said repeatedly. It's a figure out kind of year. So it's still early. It's fun to see the team compete. It's kind of what we talked about. If you're a Canadiens fan that is realistic, and by that I mean you went into the season knowing that, wins are going to be difficult to come by, but you wanted to see competitiveness. You wanted to see a team that was fighting for each other. You wanted to see a team that didn't lay down, and you wanted to see progress from Martin St. Louis and some of the younger guys. And for me, I'm comfortable saying you're seeing all of that. It's all about progression. It's all about benchmarks for young players, and Martin St. Louis is a young coach, relatively speaking, right? Very inexperienced. So, like, when you have a prospect, you have a blue chip guy, like Cole Caulfield, for example, okay? Like, Cole Caulfield, for me, when I talk about progressions, Cole Caulfield, I want to see Cole Caulfield lead the team in shots, and I want to see Cole Caulfield lead the team in goals. That's what I want to see. That's the expectation. Those are the progressions, the benchmarks that he hits that leads you to believe that the Montreal Canadiens have a bona fide superstar. Montreal Canadiens have a bona fide, electrifying goal scorer. And right now, Caulfield is doing what's expected of him. And that's what I mean. I want to see Caden Guhle eat minutes in all situations. I want to see him play against the number one line as he's been doing against Sidney Crosby and Austin Matthews this season. So this is what I talk about with benchmarks, expectations. Check it off the list. And so far, so great for the Montreal Canadiens. They're doing better, they're fighting, and they're fun to watch, guys, which is what we're here for, right? And the last thing you want to do is follow a team in the midst of an 82-game season that plays like dog shit and really isn't doing much. And so far, the Montreal Canadiens, in the very early blush of this season, have performed reasonably well and picked up their first road W. They're in St. Louis on Saturday night at 7. Catch it live on your home for the Montreal Canadiens. TSN 690. We're ready for Week 8 of the National Football League. I've got 3 games that I really like, including the early game between the Jacksonville Jaguars and Denver Broncos. They're going live from London, England, 9:30 on Sunday morning. Fascinating. What a phony, finally getting called out for all this phoniness. Russell Wilson, quarterback of the Denver Broncos. I don't know if you heard the clip of Russell explaining the fact that he doesn't suffer from jet lag while all his teammates were resting and sleeping. He was watching film and doing high knees in the aisle of the airplane, right? This is the kind of douchebag, phony that is Russell Wilson. His hamstring injury will allow him to be back on the field on Sunday morning at 9:30 against Trevor Lawrence and the crew from Jacksonville. Small point spread in this game. The Broncos don't score a lot of points. They're averaging about 11 points a game this month. I like Jacksonville. Better defense than the Denver Broncos. Better quarterback than Russell Wilson this season. Give me Trevor Lawrence and the Jags to win and cover the 2.5. Mac Jones will be the starting quarterback for the New England Patriots, who are taking on the New York Jets at the Meadowlands in New Jersey. Breece Hall will not be going, the standout running back for the New York Jets. Zach Wilson's lack of mobility. They also lost one of their edge blockers, so a pretty decimated run game. Putting the ball now in Zach Wilson's hands. Yeah, not for me. Give me Bill Belichick's defense. They have won 12 in a row against the New York Jets. Bill Belichick in his career, in 38 career games against New York and the Jets, he's won 32 of the 38 all-time meetings. Patriots win. Patriots cover the 2.5 points. We're also going to lean on the Tennessee Titans taking on the Houston Texans. I think the odds makers bought a little too much into Houston for my liking. Derrick Henry right now, the go-to feature back for Tennessee, doing what Derrick Henry does very well. He is fourth in rushing. He is fourth in rushing touchdowns. He is fourth in the NFL in yards per carry. So clearly Derrick Henry, Mr. Consistency. Houston can't stop the run. Tennessee runs the ball exceptionally well. Therefore, make it 3 for 3, another 2.5 point spread. Give me the Tennessee Titans to flex against Houston. Minus 2.5. So quick recap: Jacksonville minus 2.5, Patriots minus 2.5, and last but not least, the Tennessee Titans minus 2.5. Thanks for watching. In the Car with Star. An exciting week ahead, no doubt. We're brought to you as always by K-Stop Gas Bar Depener, Highway 138. Make K-Stop Gas Bar Depener on Highway 138 your go-to for premium fuel at discount prices. You saw gas went up 15 cents yesterday. Gas is up to 15 cents. I promise you, you are not going to pay retail price at K-Stop Gas Bar Depener, Highway 138. Premier fuel. God, I can't talk today. Premium fuel at discount prices. Their gas bar is open 24 hours, 7 days a week, and their snack bar is unbeatable with fresh prepared meals on the daily. Their menu changes every single day. And load up for NFL Sunday by going to K-Stop Gas Bar and Depener and getting snacks you're not going to find at your conventional Depener. They have a great variety, all sorts of stuff when you walk through. I promise you, it's a very, very unique. I wouldn't send you to a place I don't go myself. So go check them out, K-Stop Gas Bar and Depener, Highway 138 in Ganawagi. And as you can see here scrolling on the screen, promo code INTHECAR10 when you shop for all your pets' needs at my favorite pet store. That's Little Bear Pet Store, littlebearonline.com, INTHECAR10 at checkout. Everything you need from the wonderful staff that genuinely care about you and your pet's needs, not the major box store where they just point you to the aisle over there. Chuck Altman and his staff, they care. They know your pet by name. They know you. They know your pets. They have allergies. They have medical conditions. They're what they like in chew toys or little treats. They pay attention to the details because they care about you and your pet. That's why we shop at littlebearonline.com. Use the promo code INTHECAR10. Thank you, everybody. Enjoy your weekend. If you're getting out and playing golf, this is pretty much it for a lot of golf clubs. A lot of golf clubs are closing this weekend. I've got games today, Saturday, and Sunday with the boys, and we're going to close this sucker down in another great golf season, okay? But we're not going anywhere. We'll be back. It's In the Car with Star. Follow us, like all that other stuff.